What if the praise you received as a child became the prison you now live in? Why do so many of us, once called gifted, brilliant, exceptional, end up feeling empty, unseen, and strangely behind? And what if the real path forward isn't becoming more, but unbecoming what you were told you had to be? Let's talk, not like experts and listeners, but like two people who've lived the same quiet confusion. You were the smart kid, not just occasionally clever. Your whole identity revolved around it. You learned to love that look in people's eyes when you said something profound. You soaked in the compliments, the test scores, the praise. It was more than success. It was safety. It meant you mattered. But now, you don't feel ahead. You feel lost. People around you seem to be moving forward, building lives, making friends, figuring it out. And you? You're stuck in your head, always thinking, always analyzing, but never quite moving. If that hits too close to home, you're not broken. You're not lazy. You're not unmotivated. You're trapped in a pattern that once protected you, but no longer serves you. Let's go back. As kids, we build our identity on what gets us attention. For you, it was being smart. Maybe you weren't the athlete, the social butterfly, or the artist, but you had answers. You impressed adults. You picked things up fast. And every time someone said, "Wow, you're so smart," a seed was planted. That seed said, "This is who I am. This is what makes me valuable." But the praise came with a hidden message. If you're really smart, it should always be easy. So when something was hard, when you didn't understand a concept right, away or stumbled in front of others, it didn't feel like normal struggle. It felt like exposure, like proof that you weren't who they thought you were. So you stopped taking risks. You avoided challenges unless you were sure you'd succeed. You didn't raise your hand unless the answer was obvious. You didn't try new things unless you could be great at them. Over time, your world got smaller. You became an expert at staying in your lane, at looking polished, at never letting anyone see you sweat. But something else was quietly happening. Your emotional development was stalling, while others learned how to fail gracefully, ask for help, bond through shared struggle. You were protecting your image. You missed out on the messy parts of growing up. And now that gap has caught up with you. You find it hard to start things, to finish them, to connect deeply. You crave purpose but don't know where to look. You long for intimacy but feel like you're watching life happen from behind glass. You try to fix it with logic. You read. You reflect. You overthink. You try to outsmart the emptiness. But intellect can't solve what is, at its core, an emotional hunger. No matter how sharp your mind, it cannot answer the question, am I enough? That answer isn't found in thought. It's felt. And feeling, real feeling, is something you were never taught to trust. When the loneliness grows unbearable, your mind builds another defense. Maybe I'm just different. Maybe no one else thinks this deeply. Maybe I don't connect because others are shallow. It's not arrogance. It's protection. Because telling yourself you're above it all hurts less than admitting you feel left out. But that story of being different, superior, misunderstood, it's a lie that costs you everything. It walls you off. It makes vulnerability impossible. And without vulnerability, there is no true connection. So how do you break free? How do you escape a cage you built so slowly you forgot you were inside it? Step 1. Name the trap call. It what it is. You're not just procrastinating. You're protecting an identity. You avoid new things not because you're lazy, but because you fear being ordinary. Write this truth down. Say it out loud. I'm afraid that if I try and fail, I won't be special anymore. The moment you name the trap, it starts to lose power. Step 2. Flip the script. Instead of asking, "Will I be good at this?" ask, "What will I learn from this?" Instead of asking, "Will they think I'm smart?" ask, "Will this help me grow?" Change your internal questions and you'll start making different choices. Step 3. Do one brave, imperfect thing. Start small. Raise your hand with the wrong answer. Submit the messy draft. Say, "I don't know. Try the new skill." Post the idea that scares you. Each time you act in opposition to the fear, you loosen its grip. Step 4. Rebuild your value system. You were trained to believe your worth came from performance. It doesn't. Your real worth is in your willingness to feel, to show up, to connect, to try again. Remind yourself daily, "I am valuable because I exist, not because I impress." Step 5. Let people in. You don't heal alone in your room. Join a community. Start a conversation. Be honest with a friend. Let people see not just your thoughts, but your fears, your failures, your hopes. Because healing isn't about proving you're enough. It's about remembering you always were. And yes, it's awkward. Yes, it's messy. But on the other side of that mess is something you've missed for years. Connection. Joy. Freedom. Not because you earned them, but because you were finally willing to be real. You are not broken. You are not behind. You were simply taught to measure yourself in the wrong currency. Now you know better. So live differently. And if any part of this spoke to you, if you recognized yourself in this quiet, complicated pain, don't walk away unchanged. This is your turning point, not the end of the story, the start of a new one. Subscribe to Stoic Voyage. Not to be taught, but to be reminded that you are not alone, that growth is messy, and that your humanity, flawed, feeling, beautiful, is more than enough. We're walking this path together, and here's something else no one ever told you. You were never supposed to get everything right the first time. That pressure you feel, to be perfect, to be admired, to always have the right words, isn't noble. It's heavy, it's exhausting, and it's quietly killing your creativity, your courage, and your joy. You've built an identity on competence. You've armored yourself with being articulate, composed, and emotionally together. But underneath that armor is someone aching to be held. Not because they're broken, but because they're finally ready to be real. Let's be honest. You're tired of watching life happen through a window. You see people laughing, building, failing, trying. They aren't perfect, but they're alive. Meanwhile, you're waiting to feel ready, waiting to be certain, waiting to be enough before you can enter the room. That waiting, it's a trap. There is no version of you more worthy than the one that exists right now. There is no breakthrough that will finally grant you permission to live. You're not behind. You're exactly where you need to be to begin. So what if you drop the act? What if you let people see the version of you that doesn't always have it together? What if you laughed too loud, cried too soon, asked too many questions, tried too hard? Would the world end? Or would you finally start living in it? Here's what no one told you. Real growth looks unimpressive. It looks like starting over, like walking into the room alone, like not knowing the answer, like being the beginner, like sending the message, like risking the awkward. Growth is not glamorous, but it is sacred. You don't need a grand plan. You need one honest moment of courage. So here's your challenge. Let someone in, not to fix you, not to validate you, just to witness you. Say something you're scared to say. Start something you know you'll be bad at. Stop performing and start participating. Because when you do, something incredible happens. The weight lifts, the armor softens, and the person you've been hiding behind all that cleverness finally gets to breathe. You don't need another book or podcast or certificate. You need to remember who you were before you thought being loved meant being flawless. That kid, the one who tried weird things, who asked wild questions, who danced badly and sang off key. That kid didn't need to be brilliant to belong. They just needed to be free. So set them free. Let them live again. And when the fear returns, and it will, don't run. Welcome it like an old friend. Say, you kept me safe, but I don't need you now. And then take the next step anyway. Let it be messy. Let it be uncertain. Let it be enough. Because it is. And so are you. So if this moment stirred something in you, if it cracked open a door you didn't know was there, don't walk away unchanged. Walk through it. Join us. Subscribe to Stoic Voyage. Not because we have the answers, but because we ask the questions that matter. This isn't self-help, it's self-remembrance. And your journey back to yourself, it starts now.